Alright guys, we're back with another one. In today's video we're going to be replacing these airbag mounts. As you can see, they're kind of bowed out from all that rust and debris that's trapped between the mount and the frame. I paint over them every now and then, but it's time to just replace them because they're getting pretty bad looking. Here's the back one, and the two on the other side look pretty much the same. I dug this canopy out of the storage shed, so we're going to put it up so we can get some shade out here. And this thing, once you get it set up, it's pretty easy to move around. It's pretty lightweight. It is kind of hard to spread out with one person, so we're going to try this trick. We're going to put this down in one of the legs to hold it, and then we're going to spread it out from there. Okay, well that sort of worked. It is a lot easier with another person though. Alright, well we got the tent up for our shade, and I came up with a pretty good idea. I'm sure I'm not the first one to do it, but not bad though, right? That way, if the wind wants to get underneath this sucker, which you never know, here, these bungees will hold it. You know, us flatbedders, we use bungees for everything. We're not going to get too deep into this because the part is supposed to be here tomorrow morning, or the parts, and you never know with Freightliner. I'm not going to tear it apart until I got those parts in my hands, because ain't nothing worse than having something tore down and then finding out you ain't gonna have the parts for it, and you got a load you gotta pick up, you know, the next day. So we're at least gonna get it ready. We're gonna have to take these airbags off, so you'll find out how to get these airbags off your truck and put new ones back on while I'm doing this. So kill two birds with one stone. Well, we're not going to take the airbags completely off, but we're at least going to undo them from the top to get them out of the way. And this is kind of a point where a lot of people do things different. Some people just let all the air out of their, system, and they just kind of compress these airbags down and pull them out. And some people do like I do. They put some jacks underneath it, and then you can let the air out, let them drop down on the jacks, give you a little more room to work with. I've even seen people put like blocks in between here and the axle. I wouldn't recommend that, but I guess maybe if you're in a pinch, you might. But this is how we're doing things, and if you're gonna stack blocks like this, I would recommend using oak blocks on the top, because I'm always worried about these jack stands splitting the wood. You can use pine underneath them, that's fine. A little safer in my opinion. We're gonna go ahead and let all the air out now. Here's the next step you want to do, and this is an important one. Go ahead and spray some sort of lubricant, WD-40, some stuff like this on the air lines right here, because they're going to come out where these quick connect fittings are, and sometimes they're a pain to get out. That top one's a quick connect, and then this bottom one, it just unscrews. And while you're at it, you might as well spray these. You might brush them off with a wire brush first and then spray them. Alright, let's go ahead and take these off. Kind of wipe her down so you can get a good grip. You're just going to want to push on this and then kind of push on this and then pull. There it is. Now this one right here, you can take loose one of two ways. You can take it loose right here and this line will just pull out, or you can take it loose right here, but then you're probably going to have to put some Teflon on it when you put it back. We're going to do it right here. See, it came loose pretty easy. Just turn it off. Pulls right out. Alright, now it's time to take this top bolt loose on the airbag, and that's going to be a 3/4 inch. Deep socket works best on these. Oh, she's on there. Jeez. Alright, we got her loose enough. I think we can just get the rest by hand. That's where the wire brush comes in handy, because it gets all that gunk out. Pull this washer off of here, and then we can compress that airbag down. She's out of the way now. It's something I've always done whenever you don't have a good place to put your nuts and bolts, or maybe you won't remember where it goes. Just put it right back on there, and there's no mistaking that. Well, that's about it for the airbag. We might cover it up because I'm going to have to grind on this. Put something over that to keep the sparks from getting on the airbag. But if you're going to take the airbag completely off, you also got to take this bolt loose down here. And that is also a 3/4 inch. And then that airbag will come off. Pretty much the reverse, putting it back on is pretty simple. We're going to have to cut it about right there. Whatever's left of this bolt, we'll knock it in, at least in theory. Hopefully that's how it goes, and hopefully this frame's in good shape when we take it off. Got my fingers crossed on that one. Oh man, here we go. Well, it is the next day, and we have got the pieces from Freightliner, and these match up. Of course, we're going to have to paint them because nothing ever comes painted from Freightliner. These bolts we got from there too, and unfortunately we're going to have to use at least 1 or 2 more washers on this because we're going to run out of thread when we tighten these down. So should have got some shorter bolts, but this is what they gave me, and I just didn't check, so that's on me. I think we should be able to find something in one of these, find some washers. And I know some people would just say just to use the old ones, but as soon as you just to take them off, you're going to damage the old ones, because the only way to take these off that I know of is to cut them, and this piece is definitely going to get damaged when I cut them. Of course, the new hardware is going to make it to where I can just take them on and off with ease, but the way they put them on from the factory, you gotta cut them. Well, we got lucky. We got some nice thick washers, so these will be perfect. Well, we only got 4 of these, so we're about to go to Tractor Supply, but in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and paint these. I got this primer. This is made for rusty metal, and it said you can handle within 1 to 2 hours. So I'm thinking we're gonna go ahead and paint them, and then maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours later, we'll put a coat of some gloss spray paint over that, and then install them tomorrow. All right, we're gonna go ahead and sand these first. I'm actually going to use this because this has some spots that are kind of hard to get to. And if you're wondering what this is, I got it at Lowe's. This is actually made to clean like your bathtub, and it worked really well, but it's somewhat abrasive, so I'm thinking this will scuff it right up just well enough to where we can spray paint it. Well, we got the tornado siren going right now. We ended up hitting it with this 220 as well. I'm still using this in some of these areas that are kind of hard to reach, like right in there. But the 220, I think, is just right. 180 or 120, I think, is pretty too abrasive for this. So. And if you guys want to know what works great for removing the stickiness after you take these stickers off, gasoline works really well. Take that sticker off, dip you a little gasoline on a rag, and it just kind of dissolves it. It's all gone. Alright, well, we went down to Tractor Supply. We got these spacers. I think this will work. That way I don't have to stack a bunch of washers. I do not like stacking washers. This kind of stuff will drive you crazy though, because you got so many options, and you know, options options are my nemesis. These things drive me nuts. No pun intended. Alright, well, I should have got 8 of these instead of 4, but you know what? Tractor Supply only had 4 of them anyways, so winning. I can't get these put together in a way that's not going to bother me, but luckily I remembered something. I got these emergency bolts in red and white, and look at this. Oh, look at this bounty. I mean, come on. Mission accomplished, you know. There goes 2 hours of the day I'll never get back. I think we are good to go now. Still, this is going to bother me because, as you can see, they're not all the same, but the show must go on. Well, we got the pieces hanging up, drying over here. Now it's time to start cutting these out. Got my face protection there, hand protection, ear protection, and there's a little grinder, so we'll start getting after it. Well, that thing tore this blade to hell. You want to make sure whenever your cutting blade gets all tore up like that, don't keep using it, because it's just going to keep chipping away, and pieces are going to fly off, and they're going to fly off at a high rate of speed. So just go ahead and put your new blade on there. Try to make sure it doesn't grab on the next one. Look at that. That's crazy. Well, surprisingly, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. There's no pitting, and there was just a lot of built up rust in between, which was causing this to bow out. We'll go ahead and clean this up and get it ready to put the new one on. And we went ahead and got one of these at Lowe's for my drill. I don't like the ones for the grinder because they spin too fast and they just start to tear apart. Usually I use like these wire wheels. You know, they really don't get down to the bare metal. You really have to work at it for a long time. So we're gonna see how these work. Alright, all in all, not bad. You just got to make sure you don't get close to those holes right there, because it will destroy that material. We're gonna hit it with the wire brush too. I got all kinds of stuff dropping, and we got the inside, so we're gonna go ahead and hit it with the wire brush now. We're going to go ahead and paint on the top side of these airbags. It was pretty rusty, and I just don't want to get paint on those airbags. Call me paranoid, but that's what we're going to do. Well, I almost forgot, and I had to take this bolt back off of there. We need to put some anti-seize on there, and that'll keep, well, it does what it says, keeps this nut from seizing up, and it'll also provide some anti-corrosion for that bolt, so help it where it doesn't rust so fast. Oh, also, these bolts and these nuts are 15/16, but for some reason this set here doesn't have a 15/16 deep socket except for a 3/8 inch ratchet, but I don't want to use 3/8, I want 1/2 inch. We had to go metric. 24 is the exact same size pretty much as a 15/16, so that's what we're using. You got to improvise. Just use this stuff pretty liberally. Looks good. Well, we got the airbag back on. We just need to tighten up this nut. One thing that's very important whenever you tighten this nut back, you want to make sure everything lines up. There's indentations, one right here and then one over here, and there's some spots on these that fit down into these right here. Those are what you want to make sure seats into this. And you always want to make sure you tighten this one first before you do the bottom one. And reason for that is you want to make sure the airbag is straight on there, because if you tighten this one up first, this top one might be a little crooked, so you're going to have to turn it. That airbag's going to be twisted. So you're going to want to, like I said, tighten this one up, and then wherever it sits, once this is all good to go, all lined up, wherever the airbag sits, you want to tighten this one up on the bottom and make sure it doesn't twist the airbag as you're tightening it. But I don't tighten that bottom one up until I put the weight of the truck back on it, because like I was saying a while ago, without the weight on there, you're going to have to kind of bear hug that airbag while you tighten it, because it's going to want to turn. If you just put the weight of the truck down on it and start tightening, it won't turn so much. Well, I would put the nut on the bottom as far as you can put it, and then I would inflate this airbag. Of course, once the truck, you know, the jack stands are all pulled out and everything, go ahead and inflate it. Make sure your air lines are plugged in, and then you can tighten that nut at the bottom, and you won't have to worry about that airbag trying to twist. Well, the truck's back on the ground, all the weight is back on those airbags, so now is the time when you want to go ahead and get underneath that truck and tighten those bottom bolts on the airbags, which are going to be right there. Also, you can check for leaks. Just use some sort of like dish detergent, just some soapy water, and you can spray it on spots to see if it bubbles up, and that'll tell you there's an air leak. Common place for air to leak on old airbags is right around the airbag, so looks like mine are good. Nothing's bubbling up. Of course, you can check the fittings too. Looks pretty airtight. Well, looks like we're good to go to hook up our trailer. There's the front driver's side, here's the rear driver's side. There's the rear passenger, and then there's the front passenger side. Well, all these fireworks going off makes me think of Solo, which is who the channel is named after. And these pictures were taken a few years back during the 4th of July, and man, he was terrified of fireworks. R.I.P. buddy. Also, thank you to all the current and former members of our armed forces. We should never take their service for granted. We live in a free country because of them. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, and hopefully your dad won't get his bald spot lit on fire by some fireworks like my dad did one year. Didn't even realize it till we pointed at him.